Oh yeah. Oh. Alright, you bloody monkey. Let's do this. Oh. Get the chi flowing. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Ah, glorious sip. Painting goo goo goo. It's painting fucking goo. It's painting goo. Painting goo. It's painting goo. Oh, glorious Java. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. That's it, you marvelous monkey. Myro the monkey. Such beautiful piano playing. Painting goo 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 goo. Look at him! Look deep into his eye holes. Painting goo goo goo. Painting goo. It's painting goo. Painting me, painting you. Painting goo, painting goo. Painting goo. Ah. Let's bring it home, Myro. Let's do this. Let's remind the 30 mortars the meaning of beauty. Painting goo. Goo, goo, goo. Painting goo. Sip, sip. Oh, glorious. Painting goo, goo, goo. It's painting fucking goo. It's painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Goo, 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 goo. Get ready, you 30 mortars, to weep from your eye holes. Witness the glory of the petrified primate playing a piano. Painting goo. It's painting goo. It's faking goo. Oh! Every timer! Oh, it catch me right in the heart. It purrs on my heartstring. Oh, it's so beautiful. If you have any honor, you will place a tip in the monkey's bowl. I do not feed him, I do not clothe him, so why the fuck would I pay him? It is up to you to pay Myro for his beautiful piano playing. But enough of the monkey. Greetings and welcome to another glorious episode of Painting Goo with I, your glorious host, demigod of Painting Goo, Defenderu, Sip, sip. Ah, beautiful. It's still warm. Indeed, the cup does not rye. Most of the time, I do run on Java. So, we don't need Boris. We already know where we're going. We've been there for like 5 episodes. Tobias, however, his job will forever be important. Because of your filthy mortars need your chi creds dairy. Come, my feathery friend. Ah. As I send cleansing vibrations through the interwebs, the ether as it is, allow your chi to begin flowing, and excuse me whilst I descend into proper paintingu posture. Ah, the stool is stiff this fine day. Ah, almost. There we go. Indeed, my Frapnatu is now on full display, ready to fend off any Oni that may approach the goo and attempt to interrupt Paintingu. Yes, Garos? Indeed. You have been trying, Ratri. I will admit that. Yes. You may remind the people. Excuse me. Whilst Garos reminds the people to like and subscribe to Paintingu. Otherwise I will fling him at you. And the last thing you want is to have that flung at you. What if the bucket hits you? It would be so painful. Nobody wants to get hit by an aluminium bucket wearing giant tiger. It would be a horrific experience. Just like Garos's former wife. Subjugated by a Colombian drug baron. Fed cocaine, dairy, until his powers of X-ray vision broomed. Hence the bucket and the sunglasses. The combination of aluminium and dark grass impedes his X-ray vision. It is the only way Garos can exist even semi-normally. Indeed, I do love that feline. Hi, I love you too, Garos. He often whispers from the corner, through his bucket. The timid vibrations of his feline voice tickle my ears. He is beautiful, is he not? Today is a special day on Paintingu. I have received a gift from one of our very own Japonites. Brother Scousparrow-sama has gifted me something very special indeed. For my kimono, for a while now, has grown weary. Despite its blatant beauty, its gold and blue, making it blatantly apparent that I am indeed a demigod. Such beautiful green crows. This thing needs a wash. So does the headband. But I received this gift, and it is of great import to me. It is beautiful. Once you see it, your eye horrors may reek at witnessing how beautiful this gift is. It is fucking gorgeous. Without any further ado, Japanites will remember this day. As live on Paintingu, I remove my kimono and toss it aside. It's ragged, smerry, and old. It's only 2 years old, but it's old. This, however, this fabric of the gods has been sent to me. Look at it in all its glory before I don it. Check that out. Brother Scarsborough, you are indeed a man of much honor. Oh, ooh. The dark greens are beautiful. Its silky finish is incredibly comfortable. The dragon rests beautifully upon my backside. Oh. A new Komodo from none other than one of you Fairty Mortars. Despite being a Japanite, he is a Fairty Mortar. But this is glorious. Look at it. Its fine fabrics flow freely around my firm, taut body, the body of a demigod. I am now donned in such beautiful fabrics that I fear revered up. Brother Scarsborough, you are to be honored in the chat. Honor him greatly. You should be ashamed of yourself if you do not recognize such honor. Look at it. It is epic. It has a dragon. It has water. It has celestial bodies. It is beautifully comfortable. It is not as wrong as my previous kimono. It is more like a t-shirt. It's very comfortable, sleek, tidy. I am instantly in love. Brother Scarsborough, domo arigato, Scarsborough-sama. Your gift is greatly appreciated. You have brought the crown of Scouses much honor this day, indeed. I feel empowered by such gifts. A gift from a Fairty Mortar. Much better than much of the gifts that you, hypocrites and liars, sent me. Are you listening? Fucking Monkey King and his cohorts never bought me a kimono. It is indeed, Marju, a beautiful gift. Ian Gananu, welcome to PEINTEINGU. Griffu, Stabru, Marju. The people are firing in to witness the glory of PEINTEINGU. But first, I had to acknowledge the gift. Next Rever demigod. Indeed, I am no longer a demigod, I am a three-quarter god. We're nearly there. Soon, I will return to my godlike status. I shall remain here on Earthrealm, dispensing the glory of PEINTEINGU to you Fairty Mortars, reminding you the meaning of honor, beauty, and truth. And the truth is, this is bitchin'. I love it. So, today, on PEINTEINGU, we return to Anguilla with the mischievous monkeys. Below, on the sandy beach, a kaiju crab and snake have engaged in mortal combat. Who shall win? That is the question. Aha! We have a question! That was one of the things that was supposed to go in the PEINTEINGU. I have solved it! It has solved itself! Sheer Criff. Ugly snake. Well, the monkeys are kind of cute. Ugly ship. Ugly ship. Question: who will win? Indeed. Will Stephen the Seeger be eaten by the shark? There are many questions in this PEINTEINGU. Questions that can only be answered in your imagination. Right. Glorious. We have solved the river of Anguilla and the PEINTEINGU questions. I am satisfied. For a moment, I was distraught, because this particular PEINTEINGU pearl from the Magic Hatu was shit. You hear that? Where are you? You hear that? You brown fuck? You fucked me, and I still got it. The hat hates me. Maybe it's because I cured his former owner, but that is, you know, shit happens. You'll bring me so much honor. Ah! Ditto. Scousebow Sarama. Ditto. You'll bring me so much honor. It is inconceivable. A legend among the people in the Chatu. Ooh, horsey. Scousebow-sama and Tuekaru-sama have powered PEINTEINGU for nigh on 2 years now. They are truly legendary men. For 2 to 3 hours, Monday to Friday, for a long time now, I have dispensed beauty, truth, and goo, and honor to you 30 mortals. And I am content. You hear that, Monkey King? You thought you would banish me here, and I would break. But I have found 30 mortals who understand the meaning of honor and beauty and truth. You will ruse, Monkey King. I swear it. I have made family ties with the animals and the mortars. Earthrealm shall be mine. I mean, I shall return and get my revenge. I mean, despite the gifts and the honor and the beauty, I am still quite bitter. Oh, sip, sip. My anger knows no bounds. But perhaps it should. Perhaps I should bound my anger. Fasten it to a stick and beat the shit out of... Much discipline. I much improve. I must improve my discipline on my emotions. I did not have emotions as a god. Being a demigod now, I am wrought with your 30 mortal ways. It is vexing. Dairy challenges. Oh! I almost forgot to. If you have never played the gamer Cards Against Humanity, it is glorious. It is hilarious. I love it. I don't often get to play it, but it is hilarious. And along with my new beautiful kimono, Scousebow, with his boundless honor, has supplied me with the Jew extension to the Cards Against Humanity. It is brilliant. It is brilliant. Try saying brilliant in the Japu. You know, brilliant. It is a brilliant. Glorious. Everything's fucking glorious. According to Freud, our children progress through 3 stages of development. The horror stage, the aner stage, and the brank stage. A headache that definitely... A headache that's definitely cancer. I read that earlier and it still made me laugh when I read it out. That's actually brilliant. One of the answers is a headache that's definitely cancer. Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Suddenly remembering the Holocaust happened. Like, think about the amount of people in the realm that have no clue that that ever happened. Like, there's loads of them. Like, do you think a lot of the fucking Aboriginal niggas, like, fucking know about a bunch of Jews that were killed, like, 80 years ago or some shit? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm sure there's tons of people all over the realm who couldn't give a bollocks that, like, 60 million people were killed by Mao and fucking however million people were killed by... Ugh! If you're in front of that, that probably would have killed you. Oh, glorious gabu. Tastes like honey. You know what I mean, like, you know? Isn't Owen going to be doing that thing, The Gods Must Be Crazy? Is that the movie where the fucking bottle of Coca-Cola falls from the sky? I've never actually seen that. And they, like... If it's the movie I'm thinking of, it's like... I've never seen it, but, like, the synopsis is a bottle of Coca-Cola falls from the sky, or is, like, found in this, like, really remote jungle by, like, a tribe. And they start, like, worshipping it as an idol or some shit, like, you know? And... like that concept is hilarious, like that's like because it's so true, like, do you know what I mean, like because it's like I was talking about on the stream there the other day, where like your cone of vision, you know, your like your aperture, your awareness level, like all it's all like if something isn't in your um part, like within your net of awareness, then you're ignorant, you know. I used to when I was growing up and I didn't know the meaning of a lot of words like that you would use, like everybody does that. Everybody uses a word because you assume you know what it means because you've heard it in a particular context, but then you actually look it up and you're like, oh, it's because people use words wrong all the time, like, you know. And everybody's ignorant. It's just your level of ignorance. Everybody's a hypocrite. It's just your level of hypocrisy. Because you could be ignorant of your own hypocrisy. Because you can only have an outward third person objective perspective to like an extent, you know? It's like I find that shit fascinating. Another thing I find fascinating is that I've never seen the movie Dreamcatcher until fucking last night. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, it's that. It is that movie. It's on Plex. Awesome. It's on Plex. I'll probably watch that tonight then. I'll probably watch that tonight, and then it'll be cool because if I watch it tonight, I'll catch up on Owen, and then he'll be reviewing it. I don't often do that. I don't often watch the movie that he's like, because generally I've already seen it. I've already seen Truman Show. I've already seen John Wick. Lots of things like. But I watched Dreamcatcher. I think it's made from. It was made in 2003. If you've never seen Dreamcatcher, it has Timothy Olyphant, Morgan Freeman. Who was the other nigga that I knew the name of? Timothy Olyphant, Morgan Freeman. One of the Wahlberg brothers, was it? Donnie Wahlberg? And I don't even remember seeing him in it, actually. Oh, and Thomas Jane from the good Punisher movie. So like it's got a host of like actors that like, you know, like are pretty big, like, do you know what I mean? I was surprised that I'd never seen it before. And fuck me, Dreamcatcher's a good movie. And I think there's tons of gravy in it. For those of you who haven't got a clue what I'm talking about when I say gravy, it's like usually like esoteric knowledge. You know, symbolism, hints, fucking mystic shit. And then also a combination of like, you know, knowledge that you can almost immediately apply in your life is like really good gravy. Rich, dark, steaming hot gravy. Loads of cool stuff. Like it starts off. Spoiler alert, by the way. Like, if you haven't seen Dreamcatcher, I'm gonna talk about it like for the next 5 to 10 minutes, maybe more, depending on how long I'll rant. But like, really good movie right off the bat. It was giving me like a Stand By Me vibe, because you got these four lads who like lose a friend, and they like always meet up in this cabin in the woods at the same time. Like I think it's like every year or every few years or something since this event happened or something. And you're slowly getting fed the storyline. Like it's kind of like similar to like those M. Night Shyamalan movies where you're watching it and you're constantly like, part of your brain is like, what the fuck am I watching? What is going on? But as you're watching it, you're like getting fed the relevant information that allows you to answer questions you have from previous scenes. And it's well paced in the sense that you're like, what the fuck? And then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh, okay. And then you're like, what the fuck? And then 5 minutes later, you're like, ah, okay. Really good fucking movie in the terms of like how it like just arcs on this narrative of like, okay, so it's kind of like Stand By Me with these four dudes, and they're somehow telepathically connected to this ghost of an old friend who's this retarded kid that they like saved from older bullies one day, and ever since then they were friends, and like and then you get like way more info than that later. And it's like, but you get that kind of vibe, that kind of like ghost vibe, stand by me, four friends on an adventure that like trauma bonds them kind of thing, like. And then all of a sudden it just veers violently, and it's like cabin in the woods, Area 51, infection, cosmological alien shit, like. And I was sitting there, I had to pause it like 3 times. Just sitting there in bed watching this thing, drinking tea, smoking. I was like, what the fuck? This is deadly. Like, it's really cool. Like, it's really fucking cool. I like the design of the fucking alien shit and all. Some of the lines that you hear more, like some of the characters saying, all like, they're giving hints to like that this has been a thing for years, and like, the aliens always crash land in certain places, and we're always dealing with it. It's like pure black ops wet work shit where they fucking like, like proper fucking Men in Black stuff, like. And it's really well done. I can't remember the director's name, but it's fucking really good movie. Like the way it, like I actually started crying at one bit, because there's this really and that, like, that's when a movie like really hooks me, when I'm emotionally invested with what's going on. And there's a bit near the latter half of the movie where one of the characters meets up with the retarded kid that they were friends with years ago. So then I was like, oh, so he didn't die? What the fuck? They just like, they grew up and didn't hang around with him or some shit. Like, that part kind of wasn't explained, but it was like, why don't they hang around with Duddits anymore? They just talk about Duddits. But then like, he goes and finds the retarded kid like years later, and he's like dying of like leukemia and shit. But the scene where he walks into the home and the retarded now man comes out and is like, Henry, Henry, and like hugs him and is like kissing him and all, like on the cheek and shit. He's like, I miss you so much, I miss you so. I started crying. I was like, oh my god. Like, because the way they like frame it is that, like, the way they make friends is they save the retarded young fella from like these like little dickhead like older teenage boys who were like trying to get him to eat dog shit. Like, it's like, on the one hand very childish and fantastical at the beginning, and then at the other hand it's like quite realistic, where it's like they don't like, it was it's what, 21 years old now, which is crazy to say, because like, it's, you say 2003 and it doesn't sound like, it doesn't feel like 20 years ago. It's crazy. I'm so old. But like, it was fascinating to see the shift and like the emotional depth of it, and at the same time it's like there's some dark humor in there. And it's like one of those creature feature movies at the same time, where like, those creature feature movies where you don't get to see the creature very often, and then you do near the end, and it's kind of disappointing. You're like, that's it. It was doing all this awesome shit where you barely got to see it, and then you get to see the thing in its full, its fully fledged self or whatever near the end of the movie, and you're kind of like, whatever. The fucking way this shit is revealed, like, it's a snake, it's an eel, it's a fucking toothed flying black cock demon. And then like, they're also like psychokinetic, like or telepathic or some shit, like. So then you see one of the grey alien things, and then you get told that because of how it works, it's like, what was Morgan Freeman say? He says like, they appear to us in a way that we think of, or some shit he says. So they're basically these like, what would be the term? They're not just telepathic. They're like, they have psychic abilities. These like are like, they're eels, vicious fucking eels, about as long. Not even that long. They're kind of thick, which is hilarious. Some of it is real gay, like, and then some of it's disgusting because they come out of their asses and shit, like. And there's lots of farting at the start. Like, there's like weird, like, jackass dark humor. And then at the same time, they weave in this like cosmological alien shit with like, the parasite. Like, they have like a parasitic vibe going on with all this like red, misty fucking dream state stuff. And like, that's how they communicate, because they're like a fungus. Because like, they can like telepathically communicate and control with anything connected with the red organic matter that they spread and stuff and all. It's really cool. like whoever thought it up, it's like it's really well fleshed out, or at least it is fleshed out enough lore wise for by the time you get to the end of the movie. I was just like, that is fucking savage. Like, it was really cool. Like, and there's this like epic psychic kind of like battle of control between and then like it's also physical because they like stab each other and shit, like between the aliens at the end. And it turns out that the retarded kid is one of the aliens, you know, but he's like a good alien and shit. It's really fucking cool. But like the symbolism in it, I was just like, the grip, my mind was fucking melting while I was watching it, because the amount of stuff that I've learned through, you know, talking to people in the bear community, watching streams like from like here and other stuff, like, you know, the Kingdom in Context, all 33 episodes of the fucking Babylon shit, loads of demonology stuff, you know, the theory that I have on parasites. I have a few theories of like how this place actually works and like what might actually be happening like at the top shit, where we like, you know, we are ignorant. We are ignorant as a collective for the most part to how this shit actually works. We don't know where we came from. We don't know what we are. We don't know who made us, if somebody made us, or if we just naturally occur. Like, we don't know how any of this shit works. But we got told that we do from a particular perspective. And so finding all this shit out and then going back and watching a movie that's like 20 years old, it's always the same. Like, do you know what I mean? You watch stuff like X-Files or like Stargate and you're just sitting there going like, it's all the same shit. It's like mythological stories and religions and shit. It's all the same stuff, but just like with different iterations and different points of view and all this crap. Like, but it's always the same crap. There's some sort of snake-like entity is like our enemy. It's a threat. It's like some kind of predator. And it's not just physical, it's also metaphysical. But like like in the sense of like, it's like like it works with dreams and the mind and like consciousness. So you have these like psychic snakes that have like all these different iterations. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, even though like I think the xenomorph from Alien is like along that vibe, like, do you know what I mean? So there's all these different stories, all these different movies. So you got movies, books that are like fiction, but then you've also got religious texts that are like, as far as we've been told and as far as we are collectively concerned, these things are based in like reality. A lot of it, if not most of it, may be metaphor, but it's speaking to a fundamental truth of our reality. Like, you know, like I was talking a few streams ago about where like I heard that in the alchemical world, a lot of the ritualistic, you know, baby sacrifice shit was actually to get a hold of this substance called the water of life, or the living waters, or some shit, where it's this like chamber inside your brain. So there's like many different parts of your brain. You got the stem, and then you got the, you know, the frontal lobes, and then like all the, despite looking like a wrinkly mess when you initially look at the brain, when you look at the brain, it's in its entirety, it's like perfectly symmetrical and has all these different parts and chambers and shit. And like, you know, allegedly when you fucking like splice the thing down the middle and you get like a fucking, what you call it, what is it called, like a fucking cross section of it, like you got the pineal gland and that looks like the Egyptian eye and all this stuff. Like, there's like supposedly a chamber in the center of the brain where there's like this hollow chamber containing a liquid, and texts refer to that stuff as the water of life. And allegedly a lot of like dark alchemical masters figured out that stuff, it was like an incredibly valuable resource if you're talking about like rejuvenation. I think it's like, it's probably just like really like, it's probably like a couple of teaspoons worth, or a teaspoon's worth of like really high quality stem cells or some shit, like, you know, like, or some kind of material resource that if imbibed or fucked with alchemically, you know, once you extract it, can become some sort of elixir of life. It can, like, you know, reverse aging, heal wounds, fucking like open your third eye, and like all this fucking shit, like, you know. So there's a lot of culty stuff to do with that, like. And that's all the stuff I was thinking about while I was watching this Dreamcatcher thing. And that's another thing. Why is it called Dreamcatcher? Well, like, this retarded kid that they save from the bullies has these like weird abilities that they discover through hanging out with him, and he shows them a dream. He makes them a dream catcher where he's the one in the middle. He's the center node, and he's called Duddits, right? Duddits. It's hilarious. It's hilarious seeing a movie that like totally just what you call it, like totally embraces like how actually retarded kids like behave and shit. Like it's fucking it's really it's like wholesome and hilarious, which is what it's like when you're around retarded kids or people even, like, like you quite often find yourself just being like what the fuck. Like but he makes this dream catcher for them that has 5 nodes, and he's the center node, and then the 4 lads are like other smaller dream catchers connected to the center dream catcher. And the way they make it out is that he's like essentially got these telepathic capabilities, but he's also got like weirdly psychokinetic abilities as well, because he teaches one of the lads, Pete, how to like, it looks like the golden ratio, or like some kind of like mathematically perfect, which is apparently what the golden ratio is, but like he teaches Pete how to swirl his finger in a certain way that like casts some sort of like psychokinetic grid over his vision, which allows him to find what he's looking for. And that's how they find this like missing girl from their local area. Like there's some parts in the movie where you're just like, what the fuck? Like, we've gone from aliens to like fucking, telepathic abilities, like, and all this shit. Like, it's really cool. Like, but the symbolism of like, like it kind of reminded me of the Fifth Element in the way I'm thinking of it, with the way like, you got the four nodes with the fifth in the middle, like, and like later on when the fucking aliens fight at the end of the movie and they like become one and dissipate into this red mist. You can see, I went back and paused it, and I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, because I seen a shape show up in the mist briefly and then dissipate. So I went back and paused it and went in frame by frame, and I was like, oh, it's a like depiction of the dream catcher, because it was like 4 nodes around a 5th center node, but it was like encapsulated in a rectangle in the smoke briefly, like, and I was just like, my mind was just swirling with all these like dots, where I was like, because like for a few years now I've like now and again pitched the idea that it's like, I think that if you look at all the like similarities, parallels and synchronicities of like what's going on, and like try to just be objective about it, and don't adhere to any like religion or ideology or like, even science sometimes, like, you just kind of try to use just logic. And I know you could argue that like at least the scientific process is just a representation of logic, but like science has also become like a trademark fucking like science. May as well be a religion at this stage, like. So if you just try to be open-minded and realize that like the amount of movies that depict really bad shit in the snow, or like like an Arctic region, right? Like the first things I can think of is like Alien versus Predator, 40 Days a Night, Superman, kind of, because like doesn't he land like his home, his crystal thing is like in the fucking in Antarctica or something? Is it in the North Pole or South Pole? And then you got like the story of Santa Claus living in the snow, and lots of shit to do with the place we're not allowed to go to, that everybody agreed to that we're not allowed to go to. But we're not told why. Like, oh, it's the penguins, yeah, like whatever, like, fucking like, you wouldn't be shooting people that go there to save the fuck. Like, it makes no sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, loads of it makes no sense. But what would make sense to me is if around the time of the whole Admiral Byrd era shit, where the, for want of a better term, modern world, right, sent expeditions into the Antarctic regions, and allegedly Admiral Byrd's like forces were like devastated or some shit. They went in with like loads of shit, and then like came back with fuck all or whatever, like. I have a inkling, I have a hunch that when we went into the snow, we came in contact with something that probably resembles a snake, but it could be a symbiotic relationship. It could be the snake might have already found humanoids when we encountered it, or it could just be like some kind of like psycho uh, snake with psychic abilities. Serpent doesn't have to be a snake, like some kind of but I'm thinking big fucking parasite is what I'm thinking. So for the same light that you have these fungi and parasitic organisms that can get a hold of an ant or get a hold of a slug and like literally mind control the little fucker to like go to a particular location on a particular tree on a particular day at the particular time of day and all this fucking shit, and then it just like annihilates him with a fungal spore coming out of his fucking head. And there's all the like there's the stuff with the praying mantis. Like look that shit up if you've never seen that shit before. There's like a fucking parasite or parasitic black tentacle organism thing that comes out of the what looks like the asshole of a fucking of a praying mantis. And they did that in the movie Dreamcatcher. In the movie Dreamcatcher, the big black eel things grow in your stomach just like out of Aliens, you know. So they're like, oh god, my stomach and all, and they're farting and they're burping and all this fucking shit. And that's where you kind of get that dark humor, because they're like, oh god, like what did you eat and all, and blah blah, like, you know. And then the next thing you know, this like fucking huge, like not fucking huge, but like about four to 5 inches in diameter and about 2.5 to 3 foot long eel looking thing, because they rear up and they have eyes on the side of their head, where like at the front there's not much of a distinction between the head and the body. They're kind of like one long thing, which makes me think like they're like a leech, you know, because when they lift their head up and they open their mouth, there's like rows and rows and rows of like viciously sharp little teeth and stuff, and they have eyes and all. So they're kind of like a mix between a small parasitic organism and like a large eel, right? But instead of having like, you know, electrical discharge powers or some shit like that, like these things can like fuck with your head. And then you cut like, I'm assuming the larger versions are actually like a real depiction of what they actually are and not just like a dream version, because later on you see much larger grey versions of them, but it's the same thing. It's like a huge mouth that opens sideways with rows of teeth, and they're basically a serpent, but I think they have 2 front legs as well. Then the other alien guy that was was inside the retarded young fella turns out to be a much more humanoid looking but still alien and serpent like creature. So then you get the idea that it was like, you know, there was like the bad ones and the good ones or whatever. Like, see you later, Scouts. Thanks again for the kimono. Much honoru. So like I'm of the mind that through various like media and like ancient mythology and stuff like that, like, you know, even Christianity with the whole like, you know, correlation between the snake and the Garden of Eden and all this shit, I think we might have come across something in our fairly recent history that was either some kind of advanced parasite that has like the same kind of network mental connections, like bioelectric connections, as like a fungus. Because there's some fungi and mushrooms that like extend for kilometers under the ground in like a forest or some shit, and like when something happens to some bushes and plants have the same thing, where if a deer starts eating a bush over here 2 kilometers down, because it's connected through all the root systems and shit, the same species of bush will start emitting a different chemical, so that the deers, like when they get to it and they start eating it, they won't like the taste of it or it'll make them sick. So there's like all sorts of evidence of these vast networks that are essentially telepathic, you know, to do with like plants, even animals. When you look at like allegedly dolphins and some homing pigeons and all, they have like seemingly like otherworldly capabilities that we can't explain just through like the 5 senses or whatever. It's like, how does he know how to go that way or whatever, like, you know. How dolphins are able to like sense certain things. Like there was a whole show about a dolphin that could like that had psychic powers. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called like Sea World or something. I can't remember. but there's so much media out there where it's all the same shit, and like, where do you think they get those stories from? You know, it is to a degree, but it's not just people with really, you know, imaginative and like really good artistic talent and shit like that. Like, there's a source material where they get this shit from, and that source material is typically ancient myths, religious texts, and so on and so forth. That's why all the Marvel heroes, like, you know, superheroes, essentially gods. You know, everything from Thor to, and some of them straight up are just like, oh, that's Thor from Norse mythology. They don't even bother, like, you know, coming up with a superhero that is an iteration of Thor. They just straight up go, there's Thor. And then there's all sort, like, you know, you could go into the gravy of like how all those religions have like glaring similarities. Like the biggest one I got out of that series, Kingdom in Context's Babylon. There's like 32, 33 videos or some shit like that, like, which is hilarious. But there's these things called, I spoke about them recently, called the Vajra, which is basically a tool that gave these gods, these great men, the power to wield lightning, and a machine that like fired like a flying machine made of metal that fired like lightning and shit. And these are like, you know, religious things from like fucking God knows how many years ago. And especially when you're talking about Hindu, because allegedly they had to rewrite everything every 10 years because the humidity in the paper would rot. So like, they're telling you the same story over and over and over and over and over again in various ways. Everything from like the fall of Babylon, like, so there was definitely previous civilizations with different tech, and you don't like, it's not logical to say higher technology. It's just different. There's obviously multiple ways to skin the cat of reality or existence that we live in this realm, right? So there's been different iterations of whatever the fuck humanity is, and we've got like recordings of that, we've got memories, but like, it seems like there definitely has been, especially lately, a concerted effort to destroy the history so that we can be easier enslaved in a particular direction. Sequest, thank you. My dad loved it, like, with the fucking, what was he called? He was called Darwin, wasn't he? I think the dolphin was called Darwin. And then one of the lads had gills. They surgically grafted gills to him, or they, like, you know, genetically modified him or something so he could swim like indefinitely and shit. Cool, some cool shit, like, you know. But like, there's another thing. It's like, you know, fucking, they tell you, like, this is what I thought was hilarious at the end of Dreamcatcher. In a movie, why would you have to put a disclaimer at the end, especially a movie like Dreamcatcher, where it's like, you know, about like aliens and fucking psychic abilities, and like, you know, like a pandemic because they had to quarantine because of all this red shit that's coming from the aliens and all, like, and all this Black Ops shit, like, you know. They have a disclaimer at the end credits of Dreamcatcher that says, it's like the thing they put on Assassin's Creed where it's like, any similarity to people or locations or persons or behavior or any of these things is purely coincidental, and this is a fiction, right? And like, how funny is it that something like what was it? Was it Jacob? No, not Jacob's Ladder. Schindler's List, right? Is a fiction, but a lot of people were like, oh, it's so real, but it isn't. It's total fiction. And then on the other hand, you look at a movie like Dreamcatcher or Truman Show, where they're like, oh, this is fiction. But then when you actually watch it, there's like something in you that's like, this seems very real. And not just real as in like, oh, it feels real or whatever. Like, you know, like logically it's like, that would make a lot of sense of how this actually works. Like why do these like really important high up people go to Antarctica every so often, like the Pope and that fucking Kennedy fella or whatever? Why did they go to Antarctica? If nobody's allowed to go to Antarctica, and all Antarctica allegedly is just like some research stations with some like people scattered around the place, then why is it controlled by the military? And why is if all the countries, if all the nations have managed to agree, like they all signed a treaty that nobody's allowed go here, but we're still, like, the Ukraine shit's going on, Israel's being shot at by Iran. That makes no sense. If all the known nations were like, yeah, definitely no go cold place, leave penguins alone, but you're still gonna murder each other over like the most ridiculous fucking shit like ever. It's stupid. So there's obviously something going on that we're not being told. Now, you can make the argument that we're not being told for our benefit, but that to me sounds like, the rationalization of a fucking psychopath mother, which is also the reason why, unlike most people who tend to think, oh yeah, it's just a bunch of like, hyper rich, really old family name, dudes in a room somewhere in the Carpathian Mountains where nobody fucking knows where this place is, like it may as well be Shangri-La. And they're just in this room and they're like, plotting everything. They are the hidden hand, they are the Illuminati and all this fucking shit. I think it's very likely that the thing or because it may not be persons, like what is actually in control of our current paradigm might be either a combination or on its own humanoid symbiotes with some kind of like parasitic organism that we came in contact with majorly when we went into the snow, into the Antarctic regions, into the really cold regions in Antarctica. I think somebody got far enough and found something else, and what they found was really like dangerous. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're talking like, we're like, as far as we're concerned, and as far as we've been told, we are the apex predator. We, like, do you know what I mean? We have dominion. We even get told that in the Bible. You have dominion over the animals, and this is your kingdom, and all this fucking shit. Like, what if that's not the reality? What if there's like other places like within the scope of our reality where like it's not a globe, it's not this. Your limit isn't this. The limits are further than you think, and there's more than what you've been told. What if there's another group of humanoids or different species of dudes who may or may not be infected with some kind of parasitic symbiotic organism, and they have stuff like quantum locking and like all this like magic as far as we're concerned. That's actually just knowledge as far as they're concerned, and they have essentially like subjugated us since they came in contact with us. And it makes sense then. It's like, well, why do people from our geopolitical important people, why do they go to fucking Antarctica? To like receive orders, to be like to bow to the actual masters of everything. Like, like I really, and then like Hitler fled to like, Argentina, and then allegedly Antarctica or whatever, and the Nazis had a base in Antarctica. There's loads of shit that like just makes it blatantly obvious that there's something going on over there that nobody in power wants us to know about. And it's like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that, it's fine. It's like, they are treating us like cattle and children. They have us penned in, they're convincing us to live in a certain way where like we're more atomized, we're like bees in a hive. We have like, if we're going to have children, they can be grown synthetically in a synthetic womb. You don't have to go through the birthing process. Like, they're gearing us up to be localized, controlled, tagged, and like sucking all of these resources out of us at the same time. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, that to me seems like the mindset of some kind of hive mind, and not like a social creature like a monkey, or like it makes no sense. Like, as if we did come from monkeys, that's actually probably how they convinced us that we come from monkeys. But then again, I like with the whole genetic modification shit, I wouldn't be surprised if technically we did kind of come from monkeys, where at some stage these like other beings intervened and mixed our genome with that of a chimp, whatever we were before. Maybe we were snakes or fish, or I don't fucking know. Do you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine if you could mix the genome of an octopus with the genome of some kind of mammal? So you had something that was like had the intellect of a dolphin or an octopus, because like they've gotten octopi to like tell them what fucking team is gonna win the fucking the FIFA Cup or whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? Who's gonna win at the football? And like the octopus like puts a card up on the glass and shit. Like, so there's obviously evidence for scientists looking at particular animals and being like, this thing has an interesting intellect, and like if you could mix that with the fucking ability of like a chimp or something, where they had like they could camouflage their like they could control the pixels on their flesh and camouflage and shit, but they also had the like strength and the oxygen breathing power of like a fucking chimp and shit. Like I'm sure they did loads of stuff, allegedly, maybe if like they, you know, were fucking around with with gene splicing and stuff, like, you know, like we've done that. Like, you know, I remember growing up hearing about, you know, oh, they've cloned the first sheep, and you know, a few years ago I seen articles about like fake wombs and stuff. Like, so it's like if we're able to do that, and there's like something else that is comparatively intelligent and capable of like crafting shit as we are, but they're like they've been around longer and they have more knowledge. Like, imagine that, like you would consider it magic. You'd be like, oh my god, it's aliens, like, you know, it's like supernatural shit. But from their perspective, we're just a bunch of monkeys that they fucked with, and that like we've like I wouldn't be surprised if from their perspective we're seen as like a, you know, a fucking pest that got out of control now. It was like, or a pet that got out of control, you know. Oh yeah, years ago we thought it'd be a great idea to make you guys, but now like, oh, it's getting out of hand. Because that, like, that's where I get to that conclusion of like, well, not a conclusion. That's where I get to the theory that I've heard that like one of our fucking chromosomes is like fused and shit, and that doesn't make any sense because like no other mammal has that, and why do we have that? Is that evidence for God intervening or something? Like, that could easily be just a higher species, like a more capable older species or whatever, has the ability to gene splice, and they made us. And when you think about like in the alchemy world, you have the thing called the homunculus, which is basically like you take an essence of yourself and create like the little golden man or whatever, like, you know. It's funny that it's gold as well, like, because people have like questioned and postulated, like, you know, well, why would they be using as cattle? Why would they be subjugating us in this manner? Like, what's the benefit? Well, clearly we have a resources that they need. You know, could be something within us. Maybe it's the water of life. I don't fucking know. You know, like, maybe it's gold or some shit, like, you know. But like, it's totally believable that we could have been initially made and put here as like some form of basic, you know, for them, cattle, you know, and they just like allow us to exist so that we're like, because that's how you farm. Like, think about it. Like, it's like, oh well, my chickens have a good life, so when I slaughter them, I don't feel as bad, you know. So like, imagine from their perspective of like, oh well, my humans, you know, like they live well, they farm, they're agrarian, they have many children, like, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not like that anymore, like, you know. Lots of us is sick in the head, in the body, like, you know, like, it's, and there's like, we're all killing each other and shit, like, fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating stuff, like, you know. And it's not the sort of stuff that is discussed at all in the mainstream ever, which in itself is very telling. Do you know what I mean? That like some of the most fascinating subject matter that I've ever come across that may or may not be your actual like reality is never spoken about. All they ever talk about is war, sex, you know, and then like the corrupted inverted music, corrupted inverted like media and entertainment. That's all that's spoken about. Is all the superficial shit that doesn't matter at all. Like, they convince you it matters, you know. Oh, if Trump doesn't become president, the world's gonna end. Like, Kamala's gonna get us all killed. Man, if George Bush didn't get you all killed, nobody's getting you all killed. Like, fuck's sake. Like, some of the shit that goes on the daily is like, it's so obvious that it's just like, we gotta just keep it going. We gotta just keep this fucking dreidel spinning. We gotta keep this fucking wheel turning. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but how do we do it? How do we manage this? And how do we do that? And oh, we'll just do this and we'll just do that. And like, it's constantly catastrophic failures. There's constantly a lot of people dying of mad shit for mad reasons. Like, and at the same time, they're constantly talking about how they're making progress and living in a new world and new world order and like healthier people and healthier minds and living healthier and being green and all this fucking shit. And then you realize that all the stuff they're proposing literally only makes the problem like exponentially worse. You have these fucking wind farms that all they do is waste money and resources and kill birds. It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious, like. There may be a creepy table, but it's comprised of hideous psychopathic crones. Yeah, like that's what I have a weird feeling that like one of the reasons why everything is so fucked up is because there's this weird female hive mind tyrannical matriarch energy. Like that's what it looks and feels like to me. It doesn't look or feel like, you know, a male really aggressive, like overbearing, I'm just gonna like, I'm gonna enslave you. It's not that. It's the feminine. It's this feminine energy of like subtlety and subterfuge and hints and like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like it just makes so much more sense to me if you imagine a load of psychotic girl bosses being at as the like Illuminati or whatever title you want to put on like the alleged people right at the top of the paradigm. If you imagine them as being a bunch of psychotic girl bosses, then it makes the Bene Gesserits, out of Dune. That's what I think is actually the power structure, is a bunch of women who know how to manipulate men. You know, oh, like we'll take his seed and we'll raise him up. And like, like if you've seen Dune 2, you know what I'm talking about. Where the Bene Gesserits are basically deciding which man gets to be the liability shield. He's the king. This is the king. He's in charge. Look at a chessboard. Owen's so right when he pointed that out. Look at a chessboard. The king is like the king, the head, the monarch, the monarch, yeah, the like the glaring butterfly that draws attention, draws the eye, draws the admiration and the worship and all this shit, like, and is like strong and powerful and can kill and all this fucking command forces, all this crap. But right beside him is the bitch who can go anywhere on the board. The queen is actually a way more powerful character for loads of reasons. Like the queen and the king, if you were just to put the king and the queen alone on the board, the queen would win because she has way more range and can move in any direction. So like it makes so much more sense when you look at it from that perspective, that like right at the top it's probably a bunch of telepathic snake infused females that are like, because there's so, like, think of it, the female energy is the empath. Like they know how the baby's feeling and stuff like that. They know what a certain cry sound means. The baby, like, to a man, the baby goes ah, and the baby starts crying, and the man is like, what do you need? Are you hungry? Are you cold? Have you tummy ache? I don't know. Speak to me, child. Like, you know what I mean? And then the female just hears the cry and knows immediately, right? So like they're way more intuitively connected to like nature and shit. So if you have like a really fucking leveled up bunch of females who have been raised like from the get-go to be like really in touch with that shit and like really know what all that stuff is about, and at the same time they're trained in this, power dynamic control skill. It's like, like the ability to how a mind works, not just the male mind, but like how people work, how groups work, and all that shit. Like it just makes everything makes so much. It explains why the cities are. It explains why the cities look the way they look, and the way they're organized. It explains why everything is so clean. Well, not clean. Everything is so sterilized and dead looking. Everything's like, it makes so much more sense to me. Like, the only thing I can't, like, at the moment, like, I'm like, it could be either or. It could just be a creature, an entity that we encountered that is able to, like, like the parasite tells the ant to go to the top of the tree. We could have encountered a parasite that's very advanced and can get inside a human and control it. Like, totally control it. Which in itself would be fucking... Like, could you imagine if that was mainstream knowledge? That, like, the apex predator in our reality isn't like a tiger on land, or like in a great white shark or an orca in the ocean. The apex predator in our reality is a species that we came across a long time ago, that are like these like large parasitic, telepathically capable organisms that can literally get inside like it could, like, that could just be metaphor, where you see all the Goa'uld from Stargate and all this like serpent stuff entering the body and shit. Like, that could just be to throw you off, like, where like the psychic shit is actually where it's at, where this like worm thing doesn't even need to get within physical contact range of you. It can just control you from within a certain range, because it's like wavelength. It has a certain range, like a fucking Wi-Fi router, like, so these things can just be like buried or in an urn. Like, what if they found a pyramid, like out of Alien vs Predator, where that's literally what happens, where they find an ancient pyramid that looks like it has a load of human shit in it, right? And then they find eggs, and and all this like snake, all the serpent, fucking representation in the art and the texts on the wall and stuff, like. And then lo and behold, they realize that like humans have been around for God knows how long, and our enemy in the garden is a snake, and it's like real and not real at the same time, because they have these like psychic abilities. Because that's what separates, for the most part, man from most animals, is the fact that we can like think like way more than an animal can, even the smart ones. So it would make sense that our adversary doesn't have the same physical capabilities of us, but has far more advanced psychic and like mental and like energetic capabilities, that like the control over frequency and shit, like. And through that, they have physical properties that way exceed ours. Stuff like, like spreading some kind of pathogen, or like a spore, like a fungus, and that's what it looked like in that Dreamcatcher movie as well. It's like when you see a fungus go and it has all the like millions and millions and millions, I sound like Trump, millions and millions, folks, millions of tiny particles in the air, gonna fuck you right up. That would make so much fucking sense, that we just came across an animal that we actually didn't. It's the one animal we don't innately have dominion over because of our mind and our technology, and our groupthink, our ability to work in packs and stuff like that, like, because obviously a man can't take on a woolly mammoth unless he's got like a 50 cal rifle or some shit now, like. But back in the day, it would have been like, all right, if 7 of us with sharp sticks surround this thing, we can bring it down, But if you look at, by the time we're like Admiral Byrd era, it's like what, early 1900s, or like, yeah, like early 20th century or whatever. So like, they go over there with like steel and iron and gunpowder, and they just get fucking annihilated by a bunch of psychic snakes, that may or may not have had come in contact with humans already at that stage. That's what I'm thinking, is like, did we recently discover these things for the first time, and that's why like seemingly shit has gone like completely crazy? Or has this been a thing for a long time, and what they've managed to do is get a bunch of us over to their side, and they're living in Antarctica, and there's millions of them, and they have cities and like way cooler tech, and like they're way more advanced and have way more knowledge, while they've just kept us penned in over here, and they're convincing us to eat each other, because like maybe that is some kind of divine. Maybe you don't have the, what would you call it? The mandate of heaven. Maybe that is some kind of divine rule where one species cannot just like wipe out another. No, that doesn't work, because we've like made shit extinct allegedly. I mean, where's the dodo? It's fascinating to me, like. Well, yeah, maybe they can't kill all of us because they need us. Because we have a resource that without us wouldn't exist. But that means that the resource is within us. That you could posit that they literally live off of, like, maybe that's how they are able to survive in the cold. They live off of bioelectrical psychic energy. That'd be intense. If you found out that they didn't actually, like, the only reason they need organic matter is to, like, no, they'd still need some. Now I'm just rambling. Now I'm just rambling. But that's the crux of my theory thus far, is like, I'm thinking cosmological fucking parasite snakes. And like, they don't have to all be like female, like, do you know what I mean? It's just that's how they exist, because they're like a hive mind. Because they're connected telepathically. They don't have as much of an individual sense. So that's how they exist. Is like a fucking nest or a hive, like, with a central matriarch or some shit, like the Jews. Right. Okay. My new kimono is absolutely beautiful. I love it. The only thing I don't like about the new kimono is that it has no there's no buttons on it or anything. It's just open. It's just like a throw on pajama thing. But I do like the way it's a t-shirt. So I'm not constantly sitting on the other thing anymore. Like, the fucking dragon on this thing is badass, man. It's awesome. Right. So, what have we got? I recently, before the stream, I had a look at the boat, and I was like, I completely forgot to write twat on it. So, part of me wants to remedy that. I wonder if St. George actually did kill a serpent. There's a reason why that imagery of him exists. What if he achieved sainthood for expelling parasite snakes from Europe? And there's a story in Ireland about a guy called St. Patrick who got rid of all the snakes from Ireland. Why snakes? Like, you know, why is it always like, you know, Pauline the parasite? Oh, that could be like that'd be really cool actually, if you could come up with a female name that kind of made sense. Because like Pauline's just a female next on PEINTEINGU. Yeah. What would be like a Oh yeah, like you could spend hours or days looking up a female name that has some kind of esoteric or mythological connotation, and just call it like blah 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 the parasite, like, or whatever. Like, you could easily make up your own like a modern god now, like, you know, or like a modern entity. Like, is that what Lovecraft shit is about? Is all these, like, that's what I've heard, is like these cosmological parasitic psychic demon entity things, but they're like they're physical and non-physical. It's weird, because at least in that game Bloodborne has a really cool take on it, where the more insight you gain, insight is like a collectible resource in the game, and when you gain more insight, and like the symbol of it is an eye, so it's like the more your third eye opens in the game, you be going through areas you've already been through, and you start to see these like fucking wild, like, some of them are huge and they're just like clinging to the side of a building and shit, like mad shit. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually like that. Like, if you could actually see the other dimensions, or the other frequencies, if you could see the other if your eyes were actually capable of seeing, like, forget like night vision or thermal or x-ray, there's all these different layers to reality, like, you know, it's like that fucking, like, just like flicking different lenses in front of your consciousness, like you're the witness and you're looking through these lenses that are biological, but you are the, like, electrical light entity within the biological machine, you know. So like, if you were able to put a different lens on your consciousness, either physically, that's why people like trip out when they dream and shit. That's why dreams are so intense, because you're not using your biological lens when you're dreaming. Your consciousness is just seeing shit, like, you know. It's fucking wild how all that shit worked. Oh, I didn't mention one of the key things about Dreamcatcher that really fucking made me think about a lot of shit was the fact that one of the aliens, like, essentially, like, psychically invades the body of one of the guys. So he's, like, in his head. But because your man, it's like told through the start of the movie that this guy, it was Jonesy, is one of the four men, and he has, like, this has been in other shows like The Mentalist and stuff, where he has what he calls his mind warehouse, where in his mind he has a warehouse full of everything in his life, and there's all these different file cabinets and spiraling staircases, and it's like a warehouse / library, right? And it's real old school looking and messy and, like, you know, kind of organized. It's a really cool representation of, like, the, you know, the concept of, like, the limits of your consciousness, right? And when the alien psychically invades his mind, one of the reasons the alien does invade him is because he realizes that he can't telepathically read everything from the Jonesy guy. So he's like, oh, that's interesting. So he goes in and tries to figure out why he can't just see everything in this guy's mind, why he can't just read his thoughts. And it's basically explained that because Jonesy has his thoughts organized in his mind in such a manner, because he's a very mentally astute person, I think he's a professor or something, like, you know, he's a very mentally adept person. The alien has much more difficulty, like, finding a way into his mind and shit, and that was, like, a key component in the movie. Like, there's also this hilarious thing that I thought was brilliant, where Duddits, the retarded kid, has a severe speech impediment. So he speaks like that, like, says he leaves syllables out and stuff. So instead of calling the enemy the Grey or Mr. Grey, when Duddit says it comes out Mr. Gay, and I couldn't stop laughing at this part, at that, like, because I was like, every time he calls Mr. Grey, every time he says Mr. Grey's name, he says Mr. Gay because he can't say the word. So, like, it almost had this, like, weird kind of gravy drop where it was like, this is why everything is gay, is because it's all from this, like, psychic serpent alien demon thing. Like, really cool fucking movie. Really cool movie. Parasite snake sounds like tapeworms. Yeah, totally. Definitely. Snakes could be metaphor. Yeah, you see, that's the thing, isn't it? Is, like, what is metaphor for something else, and then what is, like, just literal. It's fascinating. Right, we get some tunes going, and I'll do some work on the mischievous monkeys. Where's my tunes? Where's my tunes? There we go. Painting goo goo goo. Oh, right. Define the crab a bit more. There's a small part of me that wants to put a black outline on all the characters to make them pop a bit more. But I need to put twat on the ship, because I said I would do that and I didn't do it. So part of me is just thinking of just squeezing it in right here. Yeah, we'll do that first and see how it looks. Painting goo 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 goo, painting goo 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 goo. Right, where's my bitches? Let's get them wet. Paint, paint! Do, 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 Oh, I need to clean the painting goo bucket. A painting goo bucket is a looking 30. Painting goo, 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 goo. My front knotto is like tickering my eyebrows. It's very distracting. I don't want to cut my hair though, because like it's coming into the winter. So I just want to keep my hair until the cold weather's gone, and then I might cut it. Like, I mean, it's not like longest I've ever had my hair was down to my. It was pretty much down to my ass. I always think it's hilarious telling the story when I finally got my hair cut, and your one put it in a braid and like, you know, cut the whole thing off because we were going to give it to charity. It's still sitting in an envelope somewhere. It's hilarious. We just never got around to giving it to a charity. Like, so we still just have my old ponytail in a fucking my braid, just sitting in a fucking envelope. And when your one cut it off, you could hear the other woman from like over by the cash register looked over and she goes, "Jesus, what's that? 14 inches." I was just sitting there laughing. Oh, it was fucking brilliant. Like, everyone's just standing there with me hair. Like, she was like, "Oh, that's huge." Oh, I was in bits laughing. I was. It's fucking hilarious. Part of me wants to grow my hair that long again. I think it took like 3 years, which is not that long. My hair grows pretty fucking fast, like. Painting goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Painting goo. Painting goo goo. Doo 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 doo. Doo 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 doo. Doo 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 doo. Doo 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 doo. Oh, my stomach a rumbling. I did not have lunch today. I did a workout instead. A mild workout. You know when you do a workout and you're like, I can't even call that a workout. Because of the way you have worked out before. It is hard to like it just is. It's difficult to organize your life in such a way where you can put 100% effort into, like, you know, your profession, your health, you know, fucking your mental health, and then like your knowledge and all this shit. Like, I've recently become very fond of that what's it that Owen says, the biggest conspiracy theory is that everything's gonna be fine. Like, I'm really down with that vibe, because I think that's why the Bible says do not fear, have no fear. Like, it says do not fear like 365 times or something. Like, it says have no fear for every day of the year or whatever, like, you know. Painting goo goo. Fear is the mind killers in Dune and all that shit. Like our minds are so powerful that it's like you literally have to like be aware of how powerful your mind is, and then disciplined in its application. You know, it's fascinating shit. Like the more I learn, the more I realize how profoundly wasteful school is. At least these days. Like the stuff I learned in school, total waste of time. Primary and secondary, total fucking waste of time. The stuff I've learned in the past 7 odd years has made me like actually want to engage in life. It's fucking crazy. Makes a lot of sense though. Painting goo 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 goo. Okay, we got a mischievous monkeys. They got a hold of a shark. They're trying to use it to kill Stephen the Seagull. Yeah, I'll work on the crab right now. I need to get a black line around this dude's eyes. I mean, they're kaiju. Make a lookum very anime. It was actually one of the first things that I learned how to do fairly accurately when I was doodling when I was younger. Was the eyebrow thing, but like this, where it's just like a pair of, you know, just like two teardrops. The angry eyes, but with no pupils, just the whites. You know, so it kind of has that like see it a lot in like superhero cartoons and stuff like that. Like, you know. It was one of the first things that I really got down, was getting that angle and then doing the small one and then the big one in such a way that they looked like eyes. And I got to the point where, like, you know, you could do it and you could just have eyes, and you're like, depending on the expression and depending on the angle and depending on the depth and the shape, you can almost see a face, you know, like, even though you haven't drawn anything, like, you just do the eyes. Like, I've seen a lot of artists over the years do that shit where they were like, I do the eyes first because it like locks in the whole image, and then you can just do the rest of it around it. Like, I wonder if there's some gravy in that like we live in the eye of God, and like, you know, fucking, oh man, like contemplating the truth of our reality is a fucking never ending. Yeah, not in a bad way. Like, it can be for some people. It can drive you mad. But like, I just love coming at it from like as many angles as you can think of, and then correlating data points, and then like you get to like, oh, maybe it's this. Oh, it could be that. And like, and that's how I feel with my Parasite theory. Is like, I seriously think the movie not the movie. I think the TV show Stargate is like a massive gravy drop. Massive gravy drop. Jesus, Macy, you're ploughing the chat out of it. You're all thumbs, are you, Macy? You're like ridiculously fucking fast at typing. That's hot. Long hair on guys is sexy as hell. Do you know who you love? There's a guy on YouTube who like does archery and shit, like, and he's just like fucking jacked. Like, he looks like if you mixed Legolas with Aragorn. So he's got long hair, but he's still like a white guy with dark hair. You'd probably love that nigga. You're like drooling over the nigga. You used to write stories. What kind of stories? You're a writer? What do you do now? Like, is writing your, like, that's what you want to do? Painting goo goo. Goo 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 goo. Let me see. That manga got me in the feels, especially the one with the dog named Daisy. What manga? Like G's father from Pet Shop of Horrors. I've heard of that. Yeah, like, it's funny, isn't it, how, like, every fucking era, every generation nearly has its people who are like, it's all gonna end! The end is nigh! You know, like, and there's all different types of them as well, like, there's the ones that think that, like, the government's gonna kill us all or destroy the world or something. There's the ones that think aliens are gonna invade and murder us all or enslave us all or some shit, like... Just scared. That's all they are. They're just scared. I don't get scared when I think of any of that stuff. I get, like, kind of excited. And I don't know if that's, like, a good thing or a bad thing. Like, but, like, I get, like... I suppose it's probably a good thing. But I do. I genuinely get excited at the prospect of, like, something really exciting happening. You know, like, and that's probably not even a personality trait of mine. Really, it's probably just the fact that, like, let's say a lot of people are like that because it's like the world is so superficial and dumbed down and fake. That, like, part of us is like, oh, will you fuck it, will something real happen? Like, give me the fucking alien invasion already, will you? Like... Part of me kind of wants to put a speech bubble coming out of Steven Seagal and maybe the monkeys. I was uploading. What are you laughing at? Fan fiction. Oh, you used to write fan fiction. I use it as a form of disassociation. I would pretend to be in that world. Big into escapism because your life sucks. A lot of people are like that. Associating with those characters, I preferred it to reality. Yeah, like, I feel like I have felt like that. I don't feel like that now, but, like, I have felt like that where, like, stuff like Harry Potter. When I watch Harry Potter, there was a time where I'm like, I wish that was reality. I wish that was real. It just seems like such a better, like such a better reality to live in, is the realm of Harry Potter. Like, because it's like it fits within our current paradigm. You know, it's really cool the way it's done. Like, the aliens are the deep state, and they are ready to probe us all with their army of gay frogs. Oh god. That's when I created Golem, though. My character for DBZ, and I would write fan fiction. I would write tons of fan fiction about Gundam. Oh, you're into Gundam? No way. I love Gundam. I've never actually sat down and watched Gundam. But like I've always loved the robot designs. They're really cool. Like, Dick Fordu, welcome to PEINTEINGU. I fucking love that bit. It sounds amazing. I don't really need to outline them all. No. Yeah, it looks grand the way it is. Looks fucking great the way it is. Yeah, I think speech bubbles is the way to go. Okay. So, Monkey 1's drinking a beer. Monkey 2 is lowering a shark down to kill Steven Seagal. And Steven Seagal is just shitting on the shipwreck. Should we have a ref for this kaiju battle? Part of me does want to kind of define this a bit more. I suppose you can tell. You can instantly tell what it is. Like, I have to stop doing that, especially with the painting goos. I have to stop being such a fucking perfectionist. Like, don't get me wrong. Back in the day when I was doing some of the early painting goos, there was cause for criticism. Like, looked like a fucking 5-year-old. Fucking like, it's ridiculous. I actually can't wait to make the first book of Painting Goo. First book of Painting Goo is going to be available, like, probably sometime mid next year, depending on how things go. I've got 25 more Painting Goos to do, like probably 24 when this is done, before I hit that 100 mark. And I'm gonna put like 100 Painting Goos in a book, and make the first book of the first chapter of Painting Goo, and then you can buy that if you want, and that's gonna have like 100 of these in it, and you'll be able to see, even thinking about it, like, you'll be able to see the progress from when I first started doing this, when I was like drinking every episode. Like, I literally every episode, I only did it once a week. I did it every Friday for weeks, for the first year basically. Did it every Friday night at around 10 o'clock or some shit. And I always had a fucking big bottle of Jaeger, and I was like smoking joints and shit. Wasn't exactly behavior that was conducive to a daily stream. You know, like, but we just ran with the idea. Like, I used to just have, like, you know, fucking like the belt from a house coat as my bandana. And then Bravey Bear bought me a bandana, bought me this bandana, and then I think it was a little while after that that Scouts bought me the kimono. I actually can't remember which came first. I think it was the bandana, and then the kimono. Yeah, it was the bandana and then the kimono. And now I have a new kimono. It is beautiful. Absolute. Look at that. Gorgeous. I like the colour as well. So another shout out to Scoutsberry. He's an absolute legend. I'm trying to think what would be a really like funny thing for Monkey 1 to be saying. Rurouni Kenshin. I've heard Rurouni Kenshin has some really good sword fights in it. Made you pull your face off. Was Genfu as the rep from Dead or Alive? There was a character in the manga that was like a representation from Dead or Alive or something. I've played Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive is a good beat 'em up. Rurouni Kenshin was a favourite of mine growing up. Like, it's funny, isn't it? Like, you would assume that when you watch this stream, it's like, oh, this guy must be a proper weeb. I'm not. Like, I'm not even close. Like, I just really like that stuff. Like, I've never even owned a Gundam model. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, like, really big into Japanese shit, like, but I do really like it, you know? There's some animes that I really enjoy. I'm currently still watching Attack on Titan. And I just the art and the aesthetic is just incredible. And they like made their own entire genre of like several different things. Like there's big stompy robots with guns, and then there's mecha, you know, or like the fucking mobile suit Gundam and fucking like, and there's like a few of them as well. Like what was that thing called? Something Evangelion. Something Evangelion or something. The fucking mecha designs in those things are savage. Like, and like it's another reason why I, you know, decided to start painting instead of just drawing. I was like, stuff like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, like, you know, where you just see like that's a painting. Like every frame, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Most of them aren't, you know, unless you're talking about Akira, which was literally every frame was like hand painted and shit. Like imagine if that's what it was like. Like imagine if like the majority of media had that much craftsmanship and love and time put into it, where like 60 artists who are all like really good artists get together and spend a few years making a 2-hour-long feature-length fucking movie of a cartoon animated. Like Akira's really cool. It's like Akira's a trip to watch. The music, the visuals, the way it's like it's done as very gritty and real. It's bloody. There's like one bit where there's like a bit of tit in it, like it's an intense movie, like it's emotional, it's like out there. It's really cool. There's some intense gravy in Akira as well, like, but just the way they draw things in anime, the way they like the way they visually show you like the intensity of an explosion and the scale of an explosion is so cool sometimes, like, you know. It's really cool the way they do shit, like. Hey, Vermin Supreme gets away with it just fine. He smokes dope on YouTube every Saturday. Yeah, well, he doesn't live in Ireland, does he? I decided that if I was gonna do it like every day, and also cause like, you know, trying to like be healthier in general, because like I used to drink and smoke a lot more just in general, and now I don't, you know. It's like a lot of aspects of my life over the past big style 7 years, but even so, like the last 1 to 2 years, coupled with doing this stream every day and my personal paintings, like, you know, and selling one of my symmetricals to a guy in France for like, you know, €450 or something, like, you know. It's like the last few years of my life have been fairly intense and like ever changing, and it's been fun. It's been fucking stressful. I mean, look at me, you know, like every time I look in the mirror I'm like, oh my god, I need to sleep, even though I slept for 8 hours. And then it's like I'm kind of too lean, you know what I mean? I always look like I'm cutting weight for a fight, which I know can like make me very chiseled and handsome and sexy, but like at the same time, like I'd rather be a bit fuller, you know. I'd rather look a bit healthier. I always look like I'm really haggard and angry and like tired. Like, I remember the first time I came across Fist of the North Star was I played a demo to one of the games, and I was like, this is fucking trash. But I've seen some other stuff and I'm like, okay, I can see why people like it. I love the trippy bear scene part from Akira. I laughed my ass off. Oh yeah, with the whole psychic dream shit. Yeah, it's awesome. If space wasn't fake and gay, I'd love to be a space bounty hunter. Yeah. Well, like, in a sense, you might still be able to be. I mean, it just doesn't work the way you think it works. You know? Like, what if stars are actually locations? You know? Sounds like a gay porno for for Stalinists. Sounds like a gay party for Stalinists. I thought it said Satanists, and I realized it says Stalinists. It's like, what's the difference? Oh god. Oh fuck. Okay. Come on, you filthy fucking vermin mortals. Suggestions in the chat. What are the monkeys saying, and what is Stephen the Seagull saying? And I'll knock them in, and then we'll call it a day, because I'm already here an hour and 45 minutes. I can't lie, like, you know, like, the streams where I talk for, like, most of the stream are really, cathartic for me. Like, I get a lot of shit off my chest, I get a lot of shit out of my mind. And then it allows me to, like, focus on other stuff, like, the female's birthday is soon. And I have fuck all money, so I'm gonna, like, paint and do stuff for her. Because that's what I do. I'm gonna make the house, I'm gonna make the kitchen in particular, and the sitting room look real, like, birthday-y. And, like, she likes lilacs and pink stuff and all, like, you know, typical feminine. So, like, I'm gonna try and make the house look all nice for her when she comes back. Still don't know what to buy her. Like, how funny is that? Like when I was, like, talking to her and all, I was like, what do you want? She was like, I don't know. But it's female, so she, you know, she wants something, you know, like. Fucking lying bitches. We're just playing. Wait, we're just playing Japanite? Well, feck, I've already applied for citizenship, and I prepaid for samurai camp next spring. I've had thoughts like that. I've had thoughts like that where, like, if this stream gets, like, you know, really big and there's, like, hundreds of thousands of people watching it or some shit, and, like, you start to see me in the, like, the YouTube recommended or something for a while, like basically if I go viral for a bit, like, I've thought about that where I'm like, there's gonna be freaks out there who, like, start dressing up as me for Halloween and stuff and all, like, I'm just gonna, like, I don't know how I'm gonna react, like, apart from laughing my ass off. Like, if I see, like, my face in the news, like, or something, like, you know, fucking, because you well know there'll be a lot of people that fucking hate this. How dare you, this is so racist, like, fucking, like, I guarantee you there would be people that would say something along the lines of, you're no better than Ubisoft because you're, like, you know, culturally appropriating, you're insulting the Japanese and all that. What a load of bollocks. I can almost guarantee you, I would put good money that Japs would love this. I think Japs would love this stream. Especially if I got the stream to the, like, the kind of thing that, like, I would love it if I could make it more Jap. You know, like, and then, like, a lot of kanji come up on the screen and, like, yeah, you know, like, fucking, like, bug-eyed cats showing up and shit, like, you know, like, I'd make it like a Japanese ad for noodles or something, like, you know, like, you must pay for painting goo, and they're like, oh, like, fucking, like, loads of, you know, like, 3-frame stuff that's, like, really quick and shit, like, it'd be fucking hilarious. If I could make this stream have the showmanship of Takeshi's Castle, I think I'm onto a winner. I mean, I'll still go, of course, but Jesus. The secret is not to act, but to be a seagull. That's what the seagull should say, since it's an actual crow from the actual Steven Seagal. Oh god. I was thinking the seagull, Steven the Seagull, is actually watching the kaiju fight. So Who's going to win? Or my money? I don't know. Because we were supposed to have a question in it, you know? So we could actually put a question in it. Like, you know, fucking, I could put a speech bubble here that says my money's on the snake. Or something like, or... I've got 5 on the crab. We had something very similar to that. What did we have? We had a painting goo really similar to that a while ago. Paint! I want to know what the monkeys are saying, though. I mean, what does it look like the monkeys are thinking? Look deep into the eyes of the monkeys. Nothing's coming to mind. You know? Nothing, like, immediately hilarious is coming to mind. Dunno, what do you think? Not insulting, this is admiration. Exactly! If you have half a brain, you realize that, like, the reason I'm doing it this way, and the reason I have the gong and the fucking bear wearing a fucking bandana, and I'm wearing a bandana, and like, it's like, I suppose you could make an art, like, do you know what I mean? Like there's fucking all sorts of narcissistic lunatics out there that like rationalize mad shit, but like, it's blatantly obvious that I just have a great appreciation for Japanese culture. From multiple reasons, like who doesn't love katana? Like, especially from a male point of view, like from a man who's like masculine, you know, like I've got plenty of testosterone, okay, and I'm like, most men is like, it's like the Roman Empire thing, you know, most men would love to own a sword, and if you were gonna own a sword, most men would be like, I want a katana. Like, now don't get me wrong, I would like a katana, but I'd also like a warhammer, you know. We're having crab sushi tonight, boys. What, the sea? Will I put other seagulls around the place? That would be funny if I put a few seagulls around the place, and then this seagull here, who's like the head seagull, because he's like, I'll put like other seagulls around the boat, and then we'll put this one saying, "Looks like crab tonight, boys," or something, even though he's about to be eaten by the shark. So then I could have the monkey saying, "Looks like we're having bird tonight," or something. I don't know. Very long speech bubbles. Should we just communicate in emojis, maybe? I don't know. You see, this is why kanji symbols are actually really cool, because, like, think of how much information you can fit in a symbol versus just, like, A, B, C, D. Like, it's actually, like, quite limiting. I mean, I could just wrap it up like this. I mean, it looks great just the way it is, but, like, you know, I just want to put, like, the final kind of finishing touches on it. Like, I could just put more seagulls in and leave it, like. Just looked up futanari noodles. Interesting. Do I even want to know? The monkeys are hoping the shark will befriend after feeding it. I mean, yeah, that, like... Who wouldn't love a pet shark? I mean, the idea of a furry, fat, leopard print shark. Oh, God. I wouldn't recommend that Google search for anyone. Oh god. I mean, like, I think I've gotten good at it, like, where, like, I just ignore certain comments in the chat and I'm like, I'm not saying that out loud. And I'm like, I just scan the chat and I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I'll say that. Nope, not saying that. Like, you know what I really don't understand? The chicks with dicks thing. I don't get that. Me neither, Macy. Me neither. It's fucking rank. Even saying it, like, it's repulsive. But it's like, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, it's not even chicks with dicks. It's fucking dudes with boobs. Like that's what it is. Like, it's not a chick with it. Like, that's like a psyop. It's not a chick with a dick. It's a dude with tits. Like, fake tits. Like, that's all it is it's a fucking bloke. Like, which is why it's so disgusting and foul. It's just foul. Like, I find it hilarious that like the obvious truth is that the majority of people were never, and probably never will, well, never say never, but like the majority of people have no interest whatsoever in normalizing that kind of utter fucking demonic behavior. But that doesn't mean you can't have fun. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I see a lot of that going on where it's like, because things have gotten so bad, people are like really going back to Jesus and, like, you know, fundamentals and stuff, which is great in loads of ways. But then you got all these fucking purists, you know? And like, I did go through a little phase of it where I was like, right, I'm not drinking tap water. Not that I drink tap water, but like, you know what I mean? Where you just get like all this truth or shit. Where you're like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing, like, all I'm eating is this and this, and like, if like going that hard the other direction when you're still like when you still have to live in this paradigm, all it does is stress you out. You have to just like accept the reality of your situation, and then taking your new perspective on life in general, you have to now move forward still from that position, you know, which is like obvious and logical, but it can be lost in the, like, you know, oh, so this is the truth and I think like this now, so I need to do these things. It's like, you have to get yourself out of the idea of the fundamental idea of ingrained behaviors, like habits, you know, like habitual thinking and shit, like habitual behavior. Like, that's why meditation and like introspection and like reflection is, like, you know, inner reflection is so important to a degree. Too much of it, like, too much of anything's a bad thing, you know. But like, fuck all people these days have like a third person perspective of themselves, so that they can criticize themselves and be like, you know, I'm doing too much of this, I'm not doing enough of this, I should do this better, you know, perhaps I should try these, like, you know, whatever, like, you know, I should change this, I should, like, constantly trying to tune yourself and level up and become a better person every day of your life until you're dead, even if it's in minute ways. Like, most people are just like, Netflix and chill, like, which is really sad, like, you know, because it's just wasted potential. Painting the room. Painting the room. Oh, glorious! Need to make orange. Where do you live, Macy? That you're scared of going out because of the bears? Oh, glorious! My spirit craves the outdoors, but I can barely make the time to go out there. That's why it's so handy living in Ireland. Like, most places is the outdoors, really. Second you get outside the cities, like, it's just fields. Like... British Columbia. What state is that? Is that Canada? It's not even America, it's Canada. You're Canadian? Mehemu! You're Canadian? Machemu. Oh god! She's Canadian! Did we know this already? Ugh! I don't live in the city, thankfully. I'm just stuck in my routine of work, gym, dinner, bed. It's like... You and half the planet, nigga. That was a habit. I meant realm. There's no such thing as a planet. I wish you could say shit like that without people freaking out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, planet. Ha! It's like... I get this one straight from the tuba. Another maple monkey. I am horrified. Yeah, you don't want to help a bear prepare for hibernation. Things like scavenging for as many berries and stuff as it can, and like honey and shit and all, and then it comes across a fucking human. It's just like, oh, thank God, All I have to do is eat this fucker and I'm done. Like, I think it's like one of the most magical things I've ever heard. Right. Nearly finished. I ran into a couple of bears while living here. I saw one a couple of summers ago and it mock charged me. I fucking ran my ass back down the fucking hill, which was the wrong thing to do. You go back. Oh my god. Ah! And the thing's just like, ooh, pray. Like, just Macy jogging along with her headphones and all, like, you know, la 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 la, la, like, ooh, like, oh my god. I was like, I just think that shit is so funny. It's like when you compare it to Ireland, it's like, I think Irish people have become so fucking like pathetic and weak, even compared to like the rest of the West in a lot of the way. Because like, there's nothing here like that. Like, you know, there's no fucking, ain't no like Black Widow gonna fucking crawl out of your toilet or like ceiling and fuck you up. There's no pythons gonna crawl out of your toilet or like, you know. We don't even have raccoons, like, fucking with our garbage and, like, you know, potentially giving us rabies. Like, all you'll ever see in Ireland is like a fox, maybe a badger. You know, if you see a badger, you're like lucky. And even then, it's like one, and they're like smaller than most dogs, so like they're not a threat unless you like actually try and go up and fuck with the thing. Literally, the only thing here that could like, you know, fuck you up that's like big is like a big deer or something. But like, you have to go to specific spots to like, you know, be able to even see any of the fuckers and shit. Like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy how safe we are on this island. It's mad, like. Like, it's hilarious. And like, the fucking, man, the Irish government, the stuff I'm seeing in the last while, like, it's crazy. Like, the immigration's gonna get worse here. At least for a while, before people really freak out, like. But when the Irish freak out, like, when the Irish are sick of their circumstances, shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, or maybe not, I don't know. I mean, like, an unarmed population, what can you really do? Because like that's what's still amazing about America, is like a bunch of like independent men can just be like, okay, like, we're gonna go do this, and they can all get together with guns and they can try and do something, you know. You guys have the right to at least to attempt something on a civilian level that is like comparable to the show of force that your police and military can put forward. Like, do you know what I mean? Like a bunch of dudes with guns, you know. Most other countries can't do that, which is why things get so shit, and there's fuck all we can do about it. It's like, because if the government wants to do something, what are you going to do to stop them, you know? Now, you can, the whole voting with your wallet and taking more responsibility and accountability for yourself and trying to grow your own food and be locally connected and shit, like, sure, that works to a point, you know. Shit is getting pretty wild out there. PEINTEINGU. Okie dokie. I think I should just leave this one like this. I think that this turned out great, considering that we got fucking... Oh shit. Considering we got sheer, ugly, and question out of the magic hat, and this is what we got. I think I have done my job. Pay for PEINTEINGU. Click the link in the description below. If you have not the honor to appreciate the glory of my demi-divine powers, you should be ashamed of yourself. Remember to smash that like button, like it has insulted your ancestors. Right, my beloved Japanites and or you other filthy mortals. Actually, I'll sign it. It's always the last protocol. I'll sign it. Remember, all PEINTEINGUs are for sale. If you wish to purchase one of these hilarious adventures as we travel around the realm and bring honor, truth, and beauty to the filthy mortals. in an attempt for me to earn my way back into Chinese heaven. If you wish to purchase any of the PEINTEINGUs, well, any of the fairly recent PEINTEINGUs, if you go way back, there's no way I'm charging €200 for one of those PEINTEINGUs. But I'm definitely charging €200 for this. You know, the last, like, safe, like, 20 odd have been definitely worth the money. Like, I remember doing the PEINTEINGU specifically for Joe Gagan, Telecaster Bear. Well, not specifically for him, but, like, the PEINTEINGU that he bought, I was like, how much can I charge him? Like, you know, like, realistically, respectfully, honorably. And he paid like $70 for it, and I wasn't even going to charge him that much. But it was a hilarious PEINTEINGU. It was of Shaka Zulu with a terrified aubergine eggplant. It was a terrified eggplant, like, on his head or something. Like, it was funny. He basically looked like American Dad, except black, wearing leopard print. It was fucking hilarious. PEINTEINGU's come a long way. And it's not stopping anytime sooner. So it's going to be hilarious to see where this goes. PEINTEINGU. I know progress as far as the stream goes is slow, you know. I've lots of plans. I want to be able to make PEINTEINGU headbands and, like, make them fairly cheap for you all. There's loads of things I want to do. Mayhem, Maceo, and Margio, if you wish to support the stream and also maybe become Japanites, the link for the PEINTEINGU T-shirt is also in the description. Get yourself a PEINTEINGU T-shirt. They are beautiful. They say Riv, Raf, Ruv, PEINTEINGU on them. And there is a cartoonish representation that was done by a friend of a friend. PEINTEINGU. I know progress is slow, but it's not like this is actually my full-time gig, you know? My full-time gig was supposed to be painting awesome symmetrical paintings. Which, by the way, for those of you who are interested, I have bought a new easel and a new canvas, and I am restarting that cool, the last symmetrical that I was doing. The kind of bug helmet, like, insectoid helmet thing surrounded by hexagons. I'm starting it again, so that will be on the way in the next week or two, probably longer. I have a lot to do, lots of things to do. So finish that panel for Owen, especially after my spelling mistake. I have turtles to design and t-shirts to make. In between all of that, I have you 30 mortars to entertain. Right. So, it has been signed. I'd like to encounter a friendly grizzly. Well, you're fucking armed to the teeth, aren't you? You need to go to Siberia for that experience. Yeah, Russian bears are probably a fucking whole other different kind of thing. How much is that painting in US dollars? This one? Well, what's €200 in dollars? Give me two. Oh God! Oh Jesus! Oh, the sound of that hurt my. Oh God! Oh, it's terrible. Oh Jesus! Ads. Fuck. What would be the what would be the exchange rate? I'm not even sure. It'd be less than 200. Would it be more? I don't know. A third one has been seemingly lost in the mail. Which? One of the painting goos got lost in the mail? Or have I just not sent it to you yet? The metal bear one? I haven't sent it to you yet. Need to get a fucking tube for that thing. Give me 2 seconds. Painting goo. Jesus, the amount of known currencies is actually wild. And that makes it even crazier that the American dollar is like, you know, the main one, like. Where's dollars? What the fuck? That's weird. Where's the American dollar? What the fuck? That can't be right. Where's the American dollar? I see Australian dollar. That's fucking weird. Oh, is it United States dollar? Yeah, United States dollar. Okay, fair. So specific. 200 euro. Oh, yeah, it'd be $220. So, yeah, it'd be $220. It'd be... I'd give it to you for $220. Because that would cover the postage, probably. But, like, I'm easy. You know, like, I don't want to put people out. Like, if you can afford it, then grand. If you can afford close to it, that's fine, you know? It's just, I wouldn't give it away for less than... Like, in terms of the cost of the paint and the materials and stuff like that, I'd actually be losing money if I gave it to you for less than $100 or something. The lowest I could go for this is, like, $150. You want the goose to be tactical now? I can do that. So to answer your question, Margie, it's 220. But if you're tight, the lowest I could go is $150. That would be not including postage. So $170 would be the lowest I could go, because then that covers the postage. I always have to account for around 20 euros or $20, because the postage sometimes can be insane. Oh, okay. Well, if that's totally affordable for you, then you know the best way to pay for it is either the PayPal, if you have PayPal. There's Western Union transfer in your post office. There's various ways. There's various ways to do it. So whatever way's easiest for you. You painted it. Come now, Margie. I didn't paint you as, like, barely. You know, like, it's a green squiggle. Yeah, so it was the Metal Bear one, yeah? Yeah, like, fucking totally forgot about that. Totally forgot to put... Like, I have it there. It has a fucking sellotaped bit, like a note on it that says 2 Acre and D-Bear to go to you. I just haven't... Mr. Price hasn't had tubes for ages. Because I live in this poxy little town, I have to order everything in, basically. But I could get the bear painting to you probably... definitely in the next week or two. So I don't want to send it unless I have a tube for it, because it's paper, you know. So like, I could send it flat, but then I'm always concerned with the safety of the painting, you know? Like, when I sent my first painting to, like, the symmetrical that sold for $4.50 to that guy in France, I made my own box out of leftover cardboard. Oh, it's hilarious. I want my symmetrical wearing a turtleneck also. I want my goose symmetrical wearing a turtleneck. That's hilarious. Right, so after we finish Metal Marvin, so next Monday we're probably gonna finish Metal Marvin here, who is looking fearsome as fuck, if I do say so myself. And then when the light hits him, you can really see all the shiny gold and shit. Part of me was thinking I could put like a mechanical gas mask looking thing on the front of him to make him look more like metal, you know. But when that's done, unless somebody else wants to buy it, I'm gonna send that to you, 2acre, because it was your idea. And like, you don't have to pay me for the metal moose one, because like the amount of money you've spent on me, and you already have a few PEINTEINGUs there. So that's the plan anyway, was to send you the metal moose and the metal bear concert one. But I wanted to wait for tubes, but I haven't had the fucking time to get any. So I'll make a note of that I'm gonna send the metal bear one and metal moose one to you at the same time. And then every Monday from then on, when Metal Marvin is done, I will design a symmetrical, tactical, turtleneck wearing goose for 2acre. Just thinking about that now, like I could do a pretty cool job with that. I could do it like, he could still have like the symmetrical wings and stuff like that, but I could do like pistols, you know, like he's holding pistols or something, like, and then give him like we give him a Bluetooth headset and then put him in a turtleneck. It could work out quite well. Yeah, like a scarf like is cool as well, but the tactical turtleneck is like a thing for anybody who watches Archer, you know. So Margie, leave a comment on YouTube, or you can send me you can contact me on Instagram for the details about the painting, if that's easy for you. Whatever's handy for you, you just let me know, because like I'm on Telegram, I'm on Instagram, I have a Gmail, like fucking all that shit, like, you know. So just let me know what's easy for you, and we'll talk about it. Oh, that's one of the reasons I love doing this stream so much, is the amount of ideas that get chucked around and then I end up painting half of them. It's fucking hilarious. I'll get to you later. Gotta get hubby to VA for app. What's VA? Viral awareness. Fucking. Oh god. Apologies for yawning, but I am fucking knackered. Right, I'm gonna leave it there. Margie, you get me on Instagram or whatever, and we can go through the details. A goose with a scarf. How absurd. Only tactical necks will suffice. There was a goose with a scarf and a headset in a cartoon movie that I remember. I can't. Is it an American fairy tale or something? Or is it Feifel? Is that what I'm thinking of? There's like a fucking, or is that's an albatross, isn't it? But I'm picturing a bird with a scarf. There's been birds with scarves. Veteran hospital. Oh, your husband was in the military, was he? You've probably said that already. A scarf on a goose would be far too much wind drag for aerial combat purposes. See, it's not tactical. That's why the tactical turtleneck is the thing. Right, my ass is getting numb. Margie, get onto me on Instagram about the painting. And Domo for offering to buy the PEINTEINGU. The rest of you, you flirty mortals and my beautiful royal Japanites, I will see you tomorrow, and we will start anew Paintingu. So we'll get out the map. We will consult Boris on where we're going, and consult the hat on what we are going, and then we shall go it. So, until then, be good, be true, and be beautiful.